Just do it.
What accent is that? That's
You
Scottish,
just
right?
do it. I don't know what accent that is. All I know is that when I had my son in the bath, he was doing pretending to be a bus driver, and I had to do a different voice for every passenger. Yeah. It's harder work than it sounds. And I said, which one's your favorite then? And he went, oh, the last one, Daddy. I went, what? This one? When President Nixon came on your bus. And he's like 3, so he doesn't know who Nixon is. He's like, yeah, that one. And I talked about getting soup.
One day he's gonna he's gonna go to history class and they're gonna talk about Richard Nixon and then he's gonna be like, it's Dad. It's Dad's character. I'm pretty sure
it's my dad's hero.
You're lying, Mr. Faulkner, or whatever the teacher's name is. So I like this new version of the opening where we just go straight into it. No introductions.
We just talk.
We're like halfway through a conversation already. Perfect.
Well, we realized that's our one strength. We haven't got high production values.
No context.
Got any context. Most of our views we contradict the following week.
Yep.
Our rating system doesn't really make too much sense. So I figure the one strength we have is
inconsistency.
That we talk.
Yes.
So let's just do more of that, and we'll call it a cold open.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Yeah, speaking of cold opens, I'm actually having something that is helping me with this cold open, and that is a nice hot cup of coffee. And you know what I like about coffee? Ever since I came back from Japan, I've decided that I've had quite taken a liking to. It's my Jeff Goldblum.
Is that how they say it when you land? Welcome to Japan.
To your left, you can see
the weather is Japanese. Beautiful.
Yeah. What was that? You had that little character you did once where we were talking about that movie, The Uglies, and it was the person. You compared it to that movie Sky High, where
yes,
it was like the ugly people versus the beautiful people.
Yeah.
Ugly.
Sidekick. Ugly. You are ugly. Get in the ugly line. Beautiful.
Beautiful. Yeah. So anyway, coffee, I love it. And I also love it with a splash of cream. It's something I've discovered that I really like. When I came back from Japan, they always serve coffee with cream. And they always asked you, would you like some cream with that? I was like, yeah, sure.
So what sort of cream are we talking here?
So cow cream, just one single cow cream.
One cow cream, please.
Excuse me, I have one of your I've actually installed a button on the cow that says
every time you press it, you just hear in the distance like I'm
pretty sure this is a real cow. Anyway, let's talk about your nice endeavors. You want to talk about something that has been irking you recently about the cinema, right? And that's the price of popcorn.
No, I don't mind the price of popcorn actually. As I explained to everyone, it's because the studios really screw over the cinema chains. Although I can talk a bit later. I suppose we could call it what should we call it? The latest episode of Cinema Etiquette. Where has it gone? But we can talk about that later.
We can talk about that later. But yeah, my name is
or
Leslie.
Not, just in case of the edit, because we're doing a cold open.
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, I guess our new version of opening is the ramblings of two very sane men. And then we introduce ourselves. So my name is Leslie, and I am one half of the Chatting Pitch podcast. With me is my co-host, and he will introduce himself right now.
Hello, I am ugly. I am Matthew D. Smith, the other half of Chatting Pitch, the south side, I guess. You're north side, aren't you now?
Yeah, that's right.
Because of where you live.
Matthew D. Smith, the D stands for ugly. And I'm Leslie, B way, and the B stands for beautiful.
The L stands for lovable.
Anyway, speaking of lovable, here's the jingle. We're back. Let's talk about the movies that we've been watching. So I watched two of the movies we have both watched. One of them you have not watched. We can touch upon a third one, but let's talk about the first one first.
We'll see if we've got time.
Yeah, I guess the first one we could talk about is: do you want to start light or do you want to start dark? How do you like your coffee? Do you like it roasted?
I like my coffee
dark.
in a mug. And because of that, we're going to start with Woman of the Hour.
Whoa, Netflix. Baby, they made a movie.
Streaming. Netflix make movies?
Sometimes they do, yeah. They're also apparently pretty bankrupt or like...
Really? That's because they gave all the money in the world to Adam Sandler.
That's right.
And that's why he's in Woman of the Hour.
Playing the Woman of the Hour.
Please.
And... the Man of the Hour. He's doing the Jack and Jill thing again. He's playing both
Oh my
parts.
God.
Yeah.
What a performance.
I don't know. Sushi. I don't like sushi.
Don't kill me.
What a movie. If anyone has not seen Funny People.
Running. He's running after himself.
Arguably, I think probably one of Adam Sandler's one of his better performances in Funny People.
Any sort of, I guess we could call them fans of the podcast. I don't really know. People who have listened to it before. We've talked about Funny People before. It is, for me, it's probably his best.
You think it's his best?
Yeah.
Have you seen his other serious roles?
I haven't seen every single one of his movies.
You've seen Uncut Gems, though.
Uncut Gems, though.
You've seen that Uncut Gems, though.
Funny People isn't the best thing.
Yeah.
And some of his more old school comedies.
I actually haven't seen... there's one that he did with Paul W.S. Anderson. No, wait. Is it W.S. Which one is the one that doesn't do video games?
Which Paul Anderson? Paul Thomas
Anderson.
PTA.
Yeah. Paul W.S. Anderson's the guy who did Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Paul
with Daniel
Thomas
Day-Lewis.
Anderson. Yeah. And then Wes Anderson is another one.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Anderson is the guy from The Matrix.
Yeah. Don't get them confused.
I'm sure there are more. But yeah, he did one called Punch Drunk Love back in the day. Haven't seen that. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't heard good things about it though.
Really?
I heard
good things about it. No,
oh, okay.
Everyone's saying it's like it's a decent rom-com from the 90s. I don't know, and it was one of the ones that kind of it broke away from his typecast a little bit. He wasn't just playing there.
Yeah.
All the time.
It was deeper. It was.
It was Jabba the Hutt.
Oh, it's a Michael Caine's back. Shall we talk Women of the Hour?
Yes, let's do it. So, Anne Kendrick, she plays... she actually directed it too, I think, yeah. And based on a true story about a... Are we allowed to talk about... I mean, like, this isn't a spoiler because it's based on a true story.
Yeah, we can explain the premise.
Yeah, the premise is there is a strange man out there who likes to kill people. They called him serial killers. But his trick was to pretend like he's some sort of photographer or like swoon the ladies and take pictures of them. And then, before you know it, bam, he's killed them. Yeah. And it happens more than many occasions. But like I think that he was only convicted of X amount, like maybe 9, 10, 11, 12? So somewhere around that kind of...
It's one of the bits that's explained at the end of the movie where... Yeah, a very horrific guy. Fortunately, they did not. I guess
spoiler alert if you don't know the story, because I actually went in not knowing anything about the story.
Okay.
My other half was watching it, and she said, "I actually know how this ends, but it'll be nice to see how it's been dramatized in the movies." Mm-hmm. And then when it finished, she was like, "Yeah, that's pretty much what I heard."
Okay. Yeah.
So at the end, there is a little bit of a blurb, and it does say that this man was convicted for a certain amount of murders, but it's been speculated that it's way more than that.
Yeah. So this
Like
is
in the hundreds, I think.
Yeah, deeply disturbed guy. Fortunately, they avoided the easy pitfall that they didn't make him the main character. So the premise of this movie is it's told pretty much from the point of view of Anna Kendrick's character. She plays a struggling actress who agrees to go on a dating game show, and the weird dark juxtaposition comes from the fact that one of the guys she has to choose from on this dating game happens to be this serial killer,
which happened in real life.
Yeah,
crazy. Yeah.
I remember reading an article about it years and years ago, and I thought this would make a really good movie. I should write this movie, and then I just didn't do anything.
You didn't do it, and then Netflix came,
and Anna Kendrick beat me to it again. My nemesis strikes again.
How does it work then?
I'm trying to start some beef with Anna Kendrick.
Anna Kendrick, you may be good at singing in
singing and movies. Acting and directing, but man, I make a
when it comes to stealing scripts, oh gosh, you really make my blood boil.
You stole my idea, and by my idea, I mean I read a newspaper article and said this would be a good movie.
Yeah, a lot of people do think of that. Like, I think I remember I knew some people who said, "Oh yeah, I came up with this idea on a bus," and I remember seeing somebody on the bus look at me while I was thinking this idea, and then years later, I saw my idea on TV. They must have stolen it.
Years later, Paul Thomas Anderson made There Will Be Blood. And
I should have written it down.
I said, "Dag, damn it." Paul Thomas Anderson was on the number 3 bus that day, and he read my mind.
Yeah, he was on the other side, and he came over, and he did this weird thing about drinking my milkshake, and I said, no.
And I said, "That'll never work in the movie." And then he said, "You're thinking of a movie." And I said, "No, you tricked me, Paul Thomas Anderson."
This is the troll who. Which character is this? This is the troll who never wrote down his ideas, and he's like really.
Oh, that's why he's angry, because he thinks he's owed something by Hollywood.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's the source of his anger. I should
have written that down.
I'm so happy he's back.
This is an offspring of like the original troll. This one is the one who's like very petty because his ideas were stolen.
He doesn't hate people because of like their race or their gender. He thinks he's
really
owed
bitter
something.
The fact that he never put his ideas from his noggin onto paper and made it into a film.
I could do it better than that.
Well, in fact,
how could you do it better than that? I just know I could.
He sounds awfully a lot like the other troll.
Well, the apple doesn't fall far from the troll.
They're from the same. They're from the same town.
Yeah,
clearly. Yeah. Okay, so what did you think of the movie? Did you think it was good?
I thought it was pretty solid. I like that very early on. It explains that there's a little. I don't want to say a meta commentary, but there are a few moments where it is not confronting, but it is acknowledging the idea that even in the last 5 years, it's still predominantly male in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
And that this predominantly male viewpoint can only capture so much. You've got the serial killer who is taking photos. Well, literally only capturing an instant in time. I think people who describe it as a dark comedy are maybe a bit off the mark. It is darkly comic at times. But
that's not the main point of it.
No, really. Sort of, the tension that is building is making me laugh out of nervousness more than anything else.
Yeah.
I would say it almost seems like 2 separate stories, which if that works for you, I can see why it didn't.
Are you talking
fully
about
work
how it
for
kind
me.
of intercuts with different characters and their point of views?
Yeah, I
Because
mean, you've got essentially the two main characters. You've got Anna Kendrick's character, and then you've got the serial killer. And for most of the movie, like you say, it's cutting between their.
But it's never really in the serial killer's point of view. It's always in the female's point of view.
Oh, definitely.
In most instances.
And I like that they made the serial killer. He's got a charm, but it's a really bland charm.
Did you notice every time that he had that charm, he would have it run for about maybe like 10, 15 minutes, and then suddenly he instantly switches, and then he's just there for the rest of the scene.
Yeah,
where
just
he's
nothing.
just completely dark, nothing. Yeah, and like when that happened, I was like, okay, this is about to happen now. The killing of said individual. But yeah, had a look at the original footage, and the dude looks nothing like him. He looked very different. I think the actual guy, he was a lot. I think he was a lot older and a lot slimmer.
Okay.
But I guess it doesn't really have to. You know how when they do story, I guess films that are based on true events, they try and get people to look exactly like the person. But
I know
arguably,
some
it's better to have
people
someone
do.
who can act better, arguably if the performance is better than the actual looks, then it doesn't really matter, does it? But I was surprised that he looked so different. He didn't look anything like the guy.
Like if they were doing the life story of Rick Moranis and they focused purely on looks, I'd be a shoo-in.
John Cena to play him or something like that.
Yeah, but John Cena's a better actor than me, so it's a toss-up. It's whether Paul Thomas Anderson wants someone who looks a lot like Rick Moranis.
Yeah.
In which case, sign me up. Or if they go the only other option, which is clearly John Cena.
Yeah. I think you look more like that guy from A Serious Man.
Or the main character.
Yeah, I forget his name.
Oh boy, it's me.
He was also
Matthew
in
D.
Men
Smith.
in Black 3 and
He
many
is.
other movies.
Whenever he pops up, he's in Seven Psychopaths.
Yeah, he was also in... wasn't he in Shape of Water? Did you watch Shape of Water?
I think he was in Shape of Water.
One of the scientists, I believe.
Michael Stuhlbarg.
Yeah, there we go.
He's very good. Very underrated.
Yeah. Hey, you were born in Germany, weren't you?
I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some parallels there. Anyway, what...
He stole my idea.
And he stole my name.
Having a slightly German-sounding second name. And looking like me. And being born before me.
Do you have a rating?
My other nemesis.
Do you have a rating for this, movie? What would you rate Woman of the Hour?
Okay, so for those of you who haven't listened before, we have a unique rating system. We don't just do stars or circles or parallelograms or any other shapes. We rate it based on the title of the podcast. So if we gave a movie just a C, then it would not be very good, which is kind of confusing because a C grade is like middle, isn't it? But, whatever. And if we gave a movie a chatting pitch, that's, oh my days, it's the best movie ever. For this, I would say maybe a chatting P. Yeah, chatting P.
Okay.
What about you?
Pretty middle of the ground, because chatting, I would say, is like a 50%. Halfway through. You can't see this, but
well,
Matthew's
you made
doing his
faces
best
at me
Robert.
the whole time, so I'm now going to make faces at you.
I was trying to stay awake.
Welcome to Chatting Pitch, where even the hosts can't stay awake.
Can't stand each other. So, okay, Chatting P, that's pretty good. I would say, I don't want to just completely mirror you, but I don't want to be a contrarian.
So I'm going to say it's the worst movie ever.
So I think I would say Chatting Pie.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I maybe enjoyed it more than you did in a little bit. Like, I think I really enjoyed the technical aspects, I think the tension building was really good.
Yes, I thought the date where they went out after the dating show.
That moment in the car park.
My days.
That was very tense.
When they were like, is she going to get back to the car before the attendant gives her a ticket? Because she's parked in a no parking zone, and she's been there for 2 hours. And
it's a shame it was in the 70s, because like on your phone now you can just extend the time on your phone.
But back then
you can't get Pay My Phone or Ringo anywhere. Yeah, they had to go.
Operator, give me Ringo. And you had to type the letters in.
I'd like to pay 50p to park for half an hour, please. Dial 9 for yes.
You said pay £50. Is this correct?
I saw a really funny video online the other day of someone doing a drive-through Taco Bell, and they have now AI voices to detect your orders. So someone's like, so the voice said like, "What would you like to drink?" And the guy said, "I'd like a Baja Blast Mountain Dew." And then the voice just goes, "And your drink?" He's like, "Oh."
Isn't that just the scene from Dude, Where's My Car? And then...
yeah, the new version. Yeah, whatever happened to the good old-fashioned clerks, who just worked and served
There was already a way to hear the order, and that was
I saw a really sad thing the other day where, there was in the UK we have Boots. I think it's like a pharmacy shop / you get your old like medicine and bits and bobs. And I think at one point earlier this year, they had a till with people serving you. There was at least 5 or 6 people serving you, and they'd be like, "Next, please." You go over, you pay. "Oh, do you have a Boots Advantage card?" "Yeah, sure." And then you go off and you have your ointment or whatever you need.
Yeah.
And then about half a year later, I went back in. Just all machines, like not a single person. And I was like,
"Do you need oil?"
"Oh
no, I'm here. I'm just trying to buy Calpol. You look like you need oil. No, I just want to buy this kid's Calpol, please. My son has got a cough and he's crying. But you look like...
And you drink?
Yeah. They cross over.
Yeah.
"I'm sorry, you need a prescription for 6 chicken McNuggets."
You know what's a great segue?
Go on.
The next movie we're about to talk about. Man.
Because we can't...
It's about... Yeah.
Again, for those people who have never heard our podcast before, it's called Chatting Pitch because we normally pitch some ideas. But Leslie and I were talking beforehand, before the cold open. It was a cold open for the cold open. And we said we can't really pitch any idea. Because normally our ideas are a bit wacky, a bit zany, a bit silly. Woo! Look, it's the Joker and he's riding a Zeppelin. And... and then we thought, well, we can't really pitch an idea for this true story of a man murdering everyone.
And then we ended up pitching ideas and thinking like, this is a great pitch for not trying to pitch.
So what we're going to do is we're going to combine Woman of the Hour with our next movie. Would you like to introduce it?
Yeah, sure. This one is a completely other side of the spectrum. Instead of being a very dark, true story, this is a fake, light story about robots.
And your drink?
Incidentally, that's how the main character sounds, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
It's like a little AI robot lady. So the movie that we're talking about is The Wild Robot, one of DreamWorks' latest outings. And I'll be honest, DreamWorks has been a bit of a hit and miss with me throughout the years. More misses than hits. But I remember when I first watched Shrek, I was very young, and I thought, hey, this is great. This is like the anti-Pixar.
Yeah.
And then that idea got very boring very quickly. They started doing everything like that, and I just kind of switched off for a bit. But then recently they've had a bit of a resurgence, and I don't know if you've ever seen this one, but Puss in Boots 2, The Last Wish, was actually a very decent movie. Had some great themes, strong characters, and
was that the most recent one?
That is the most recent one.
Yeah, and, I saw most of that. I was watching it with my little boy,
my son. Yeah, so I really enjoyed that one, and then I thought, okay, maybe I should pay attention to what DreamWorks has to say now, and they seem to be doing a bit more. I guess leaning more into more original IPs. Like they recently did one which I don't think it was original, but it looked more original than their other stuff. It wasn't just a franchise thing like Shrek 5 or Shark Tale 7.
Yeah,
there are more. Boss Baby 9.
Yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Boss Baby, the HBO limited series.
HBO, BO for Boss Baby. No, What Robot? Okay. Story is...
Did you just get your alphabet wrong?
Yeah, I did. I don't know how to. So, Wild Robot, heavily inspired by what I'd assume is like works from Studio Ghibli, like with the big robot.
Yeah, a lot of, it is based on a book as well. Script adapted by the same guy. I can't remember his name, but yeah, he wrote the book and the script, I believe.
Same guy or same guy? AI. I'm clutching at straws here. So the story is
it's not AI. Go on.
The story is the robot crash landed somewhere on a remote island, I believe. It was in the shipping container, and then it boots up, and it's not where it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be in some futuristic home, being, I guess, like a house servant for humans to do odd jobs here and there, and is always asking questions, but these animals don't. They don't speak English, really, do they?
Yeah.
So it's like, how can I assist you? Can I help you make your bed?
And there's a funny bit where it tries to identify, like, are you the customer who ordered me? And it's like a squirrel.
Yeah.
But the joke is done quite well. Yeah. I found it amusing anyway.
Yeah. And then eventually they do a thing that's a choice which I think I would have preferred didn't happen. But once it did happen, I just ran with it because I thought, okay, this is a kids movie. Kids need to relate to it. I'm an adult. What do I know? So I guess maybe spoiler alert. Like, if you have seen the trailer, I'm sure you probably would have seen this already. But there is a moment in the movie where the robot is not being understood by any of the animals, and the robot doesn't understand any animals either. There's a language barrier. And then the robot decides to learn for a good, I don't know, how many days, maybe a few days, a week maybe, but it's just stationary, observing all the animals. And then it's able to translate the animal noises into English. So suddenly the animals are all speaking English.
Yeah, we see it from the robot's point of view. So would you have preferred if the entire movie it didn't?
I actually think
not understanding them, but like figuring it out.
Yeah, so like I think maybe there could have been a way of the robot understanding the animals through actions and noises, as opposed to literally translating it for the audience. Because then you also see like the performances are based around their languages. So like you see the fox like laying like to the side, being all cockeyed and stuff. There's the fox, by the way, played by
Pedro Pascal, isn't it?
Pedro Pascal, that's it. I was about to say Antonio Banderas because
Puss in Boots.
Puss in Boots, yeah.
Yeah. But this is Fox in Socks.
This is Fox and Socks. And then the robot's played by Lupita Nyong'o. I think I've pronounced that correctly. She is also in A Quiet Place 1, Day 1. She was also in 12 Years a Slave. I think she also was in... what's that one? That's really popular. Star Wars.
What's that thing?
Yeah.
The dude's his father. The Santa Claus. Yes,
Star
that's
Trek.
right.
Yeah. So yeah, she's a good actress, and she did a really good job of doing the voice. But yeah, I personally would have preferred if the rest of the movie was just you heard the robot's voice reacting to the animals' voices, and then I think maybe that would have been more interesting, and then you could have seen more emotion through like facial expressions,
the animation.
Yeah.
Because I think the animation in this is pretty amazing.
It's pretty top notch. Yeah, I like it, and also the design as well. They've clearly taken inspiration from like watercolor paintings and all that kind of jazz.
Oh my goodness, I loved just the stationary or near stationary backgrounds look like oil paintings. Yeah, some of them look
very pretty to look at.
Yeah.
But I couldn't help but notice there were moments where it was very much the DreamWorks style like brand of humor, and like that's when it kind of fell a little bit flat for me. As a whole, I think the movie was great. I really, really enjoyed it all the way up until like pretty much the end. But then there were moments where it kind of like took me out of it, where it was like, okay, they're kind of acting like a bloody like, oh, look at me, I'm making a joke.
Yeah.
And when those bits happened, it kind of lost a few points for me, and I was just like, okay, yeah, like there could have been easier ways of doing that. There was like that what was it, that possum lady character, and then all the kids like making all these kids jokes, and I'm just like, okay, doing that again. And
it is clearly a kids movie, isn't it?
It is a kids movie, yeah. So I can't really be too fussy about that, because it is a kids movie.
Yeah.
How did you feel about all that kind of stuff? Did you enjoy it?
You do have to take into account that it is a kids movie. Primarily, there at the start of it, there are the sort of hintings of deeper themes.
Some alarming visuals as well, right at the beginning. I don't know if you noticed, but spoiler alert, there's a teeny bit of animal death in it, and I was shocked to see it as a kids film. I was just like, oh, okay, that's quite a bold, striking image.
Well, I was about to say I quite liked that. I quite liked the idea that from very early on, it lets us know that it's not a movie where it's...
This ain't your granddaddy's robot movie.
Yeah. This isn't Disney with big bright eyes. It lets you know early on that nature isn't exactly cruel, but it does what it does.
And the skunk just pulls out a gun and starts murdering everyone.
It turns into a Looney Tunes episode.
That actually won some points for me when that happened. Sorry. Full disclosure, that does not happen in the movie.
Don't let him in on your pitch too early, Leslie.
In terms of ratings, though, I think I would give it a good chatting pit, because I really like the animation. I think the story itself is quite engaging. I think it just loses some points when it kept reverting back to its classic DreamWorks style kind of quips.
I'd say early on it actually hits relatively hard as a parent of a young child. There are bits where it's like, oh, okay, this is actually getting to me emotionally. There's lots of sort of the underlying theme of humanity and nature trying to coexist, and nature tries to coexist and humanity just does its own thing. Comments on motherhood and all these things that as an adult you can grab hold of early on, but then I think similar to what you've said, it then reverts to, okay, let's wrap everything up in a neat bow, and the moral of the story is be who you are, which is that's been Disney's raison d'etre for like 80 years.
Yeah.
Don't let them stop you. And then if robots show up, all the animals will turn into the goddamn Woodland Avengers.
Right.
Even with a on your left gag.
At which point was that?
End
was this a spoiler alert?
The big battle at the end.
Big battle at the end. Okay, spoiler alert. We're going to talk about the ending.
Where the fleet of robots show up and the animals fight back against them.
Oh, on your left, as in the main Gosling. Ryan comes swinging back in.
Ryan Gosling playing.
I was
character from The Nice
wondering
Guys.
if they would have been so on the nose, they would have called him Ryan, but they didn't, and I'm glad they didn't. So yeah, okay. They had that moment. It was very. It's kind of like a little bit Star Warsy too, you know, when
the
fleet
got the
comes
lightsabers.
save the day. Yeah. But there are definitely moments that kind of like hit home. Like, not for me. Probably, if I put myself in the shoes of a parent, I probably would be a lot more empathetic. But there was a moment when the mother robot, she's talking to another robot, and they're saying, "Oh, you've gone away from your script. Like, you're not doing the things you're supposed to be doing as a robot." And the robot says, "I know. There's been loads of things that have been happening that I had to go off script and I had to improvise." And that I thought was very synonymous with what adulthood is.
I was like, oh man, that is just parenthood in a nutshell. It's like you feel like you're getting it from every direction.
Right.
Not in like a necessarily a bad way, but just like a lot of pressure.
Sure.
And it's like, okay, we just need to improvise now because we've got this tiny living thing in our house that relies on us.
So what rating would you give it, Maggie?
I think because it lets itself down at the end with a sort of reduction to be yourself and everything will be okay. I think I'm going to have to just go a chatting pie. I probably would have... if the quality of the first... I would say the first 75%. 75% of the movie, it's amazing.
Yeah.
With bearing in mind that it's a children's movie, I would rate it a lot higher. And it's just that last little bit where it lets itself down. Still pretty solid. I would recommend it. Visuals are stunning. I love the fact that all the camera work sort of mirrors the main character. It's all a bit loosey-goosey.
Okay. No pun intended.
No,
so he's a goose,
pun intended.
Isn't he?
Yeah.
On the nose. So the ending, you said, and I quote, you said it ran out of steam towards the end.
Yes.
And I personally, as I was watching it, I didn't feel like that. I felt like there was a lot of steam. It was so steamy, the fact that I had to keep wiping my eyes.
You were like, boy, is this a sauna in here or what?
Somebody crack open a window.
Who do I gotta kill to get a towel? For some reason, that was a bit of like Sean Connery playing Rodney Dangerfield. I don't know.
Speaking of killing,
we're going to get laid.
So, speaking of killing, how do we merge Woman of the Hour with the robot and make it into? Let's make this a quick, fun little pitch.
I think we suggested what robots could you have on a dating show?
Right. Okay. Well, that's taking one small aspect of the hour, which is not the main focus.
The bit that doesn't really matter at all.
Doesn't really. Okay. So, robot dating show. Let's do it. So, are you saying the robot is on the datee or the daters? I don't know what the what do you call them? There's the woman and then there's the three men. So it's like the robot and the three goose, or the goose and the three robots. It's one or the other, baby.
I think it has to be a human on the side that is asking the questions.
Yeah,
that is going to choose
a robot, a goose,
a goose, and
a duck, Yeah,
getting asked the questions, or just different robots from.
You ever played Duck, Duck, Robot, Goose? And then they all start running around.
That's why my head keeps shaking.
It's actually a bobblehead. It's just a big bobblehead. But it's a big Jay Leno bobblehead.
Ooh. He would be the host.
Oh, it's George Clooney.
He would be the host. Jay Leno.
Jay Leno's the host.
Yeah. Jay Leno.
George Clooney is the co-host. They're both just.
What did you think, George? Or what did you think, Jay?
Who else does that? There's got to be other people who do
the
that.
wobbly head? I don't think there's anyone else that does it quite like them.
Mm. Well, is that the story? It's just a dating show.
I guess we just turned it into a dating show now. I guess it's like how I haven't actually seen it, but I read up on the series Squid Game.
Yep.
And that's all about dark. I was going to say a dark utopia. That's not a utopia. That's a dystopia.
No, it's a dystopia.
So it's a dystopia talking about what lengths people will go to survive and to win and to even if it means the death of others. And then you've got the real life version where it's just a game show. So I guess that's what we've done. We've taken a movie that's all about, the male gaze and even the entertainment industry being predominantly male. And we've stuck two men as our hosts. They got wobbly heads. And so we've just completely ignored all the themes of the movie. And now we're going to have killer robots.
How will we flip that around? Instead of the hosts, why don't we just have them all robots and everyone is genderless?
Except the person picking the date. I think you've still got to have. Because that's what they say about AI, don't they? That you still need a little bit of human influence to make the final decision.
Maybe it's like a whodunit situation where it looks like a dating show, but one of the robots is not who they seem.
I'm just liking the idea that there's two very, very nice humanoid looking robots, and then just in the middle there's a metallic robot with a giant chainsaw for an arm. Did you commit the murder, contestant number 1? Why no, I am programmed to not kill humans. What about you, contestant number 2? I am also programmed not to kill humans. But what about you, contestant number 3? Destroy. Don't be afraid.
Perfect. And the name of the show is The Dating Show, and the A has a little I next to it, like AI.
Oh, nice.
And then
The D-AI-ting show.
More than meets the eye. Yeah.
So who's got that voice? Who could say in their accent, "Welcome to the D-AI-ting show"? What accent is that? D-AI-ting show. I suppose is it like an Aussie accent? D-AI-ting show.
Potentially, yeah.
Chris Hemsworth could host.
Yeah, he could. Because he did the voice of a Transformer recently.
There we go.
There we go.
Synergy.
Yeah.
The Dating Show, sponsored by
Transformers 1.
Transformers 1.
Cinemas now.
Transformers 1, the 6th movie in the Transformers series.
Why is it called Transformers 1?
I don't know. So we got Chris Hemsworth. Leno and Clooney are out, which is a shame because we could have got Clooney doing his dance from Money Monster.
Which one's Money Monster?
Where he plays the TV host who does the stock market.
Don't think I've seen that one.
And then someone turns up and it's a pretty solid movie. But George Clooney plays a guy who's the Money
Monster. Let's have a look. Money Monster by. I'm not.
With
it's a movie, is it?
Julia Roberts, yeah.
I'm not seeing it. Julia Roberts. Money.
I think it's the Money Monster.
Monster. Oh yeah, it is. It is. For some reason, I was getting the movie Monster with Charlize Theron and how much money it made. Okay.
But we can't have that now because we've got Hemsworth in, and he's taken up at least 3/4 of the budget just with his fee.
And it's interesting how we were like, hey, let's try and get away from the whole male gaze and have them all as robots. Who are we going to voice as the main robot?
Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth, yeah. It doesn't matter.
Who plays? Matters. Well, I suppose it was the accent, wasn't it? The D-AI-ting show. We could Margot Robbie. She could host.
Margot, she's an Aussie, yeah.
They could both host.
Famous Aussie.
Why not?
Famous Australians. They could both. How about they both host as the same robot, but we blend their voices together, so it's like this weird hybrid of man and woman voice,
and also their faces blended together on a robot.
Half and half, left and right, or like
blended.
So features completely.
One eye is Hemsworth's, the other eye is Robbie's.
Oh, okay, like a Frankenstein monster situation.
Yeah, the nose is like all out of shape because
they used to be the perfect human, and now they are not. Two perfects do not make the same perfect.
The D-AI-ting game. The only show that takes the two perfect humans and fuses them together to make a perfect synergy of robotics.
when they say D-AI-ting,
The
there's a little
D-AI-ting
glitch.
show.
There's a little glitch when it goes the D-AI-ting show.
So what the human that's on it says the dating show, but all the robots say the D-AI-ting show.
D-AI-ting show, yeah. It's so stupid. I think that's
it's like a cold open for the dating show. So the rest of the show is all like, it's really lighthearted. Everything's pastel colors. Even though the host looks like a Frankenstein's monster, it's generally very convivial. But the opening is like the opening to an 80s dystopia sci-fi. Maybe like the text comes across. For decades, humanity just had the dating show.
That's like the intro to RoboCop.
But in 2035, AI was used to create
the perfect system.
The dating show. Just like its two co-hosts, a perfect fusion of robotic synergy. And here's your host,
AI Hemsworth.
Margot Hemsworth.
Margot
Hemsworth.
Perfect. I think we'll end it there.
We are here to entertain you. That can be what they say at the start and the end.
Do we need an outro? Do we need a cold outro as well?
What?
Cold closing.
What 3 words do you think every woman wants to hear on a date? I'll be back. I choose you, contestant number 3. Great.
I love you.
Yeah, I love you. He could be the host.
I love you too.
We missed it, didn't we?
Arnie could be the host. Yeah.
Welcome to the dating show. The dating show. The dating show.
Chatting Pitch has been brought to you by Leslie Way and Matthew D. Smith. If you enjoyed this episode, feel free to listen to others and maybe even subscribe. You can follow us on the website, formerly known as Twitter.
Listen to us on Spotify or wherever else you listen to podcasts. Leslie and Matthew have their own side hustles as well. Feel free to check out Leslie's YouTube channel or Matthew's Medium blog. Links in the description. If you want anything else, we might have other links in the description if we think of anything interesting to add. Thank you for listening. I love you.